All right, here today with somebody who I really enjoy knowing and talking to. He's kind of a legend to me. He's so smart, right? So
I don't know about
don't
that.
don't roll your eyes, bro. So to me, Steve Hawks, platinum real estate professionals in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. Steve, what's going on, brother?
Not much, brother. How about you? How you doing in lovely California?
Oh,
You're gonna
it's
get
a
you're gonna
little
get some rain this
gloomy.
weekend. You're supposed to get
Yeah,
some
it's
rain
wet
this
right
weekend.
now.
Yeah. A river storm is coming. That's good for you guys.
Yeah, I think they say that we need it. Like I live in a green place. How's the weather out there in Vegas? Because I'm coming out for Hinman on Monday.
Should be in the 70s, brother. Nice 74. You might get a little 80s out here.
But all the pools are closed already, right?
No, they're open. The pool parties. I think the pool parties are closed, but the pools are still open. They just have pool
You
parties
don't
till
know
normal.
anymore, dude. You don't keep track of that. We can go dig deep under Facebook for those stories. All right. So,
uh,
dude, something that I value you for and that's been really educational to me. I often joke that I know more about the Vegas market than the Sacramento market because I watch your Facebook stuff and it's so
yeah,
insightful. But there's also like more national things, which we were kind of talking about off air. And
yeah.
you know it, and I think it's relevant, and I think that many agents don't know, and you're the reminder to me all the time. So let's talk about what's going on with the DOJ, the Department of Justice, and these other big, massive things happening.
Yeah, so this is going to be the biggest impact on real estate in probably in 100 years in history, and realtors aren't preparing for it, and they're not getting the information. So if realtors had all the information, they'd be preparing for it, right? And we're seeing this, the response out of NAR and the local MLSs, they are not coinciding with the facts right now. We just saw the president of NAR say that, you know, the DOJ should have kept their original agreement, blah, blah, blah. Well, it says right in that agreement they don't have to. And history shows that these agreements are not done until they're ratified. So stop poking the bear. Stop going back at the DOJ and trying to get them to do something that they don't have to do.
Sure.
And most importantly, this is what they're doing right now. You don't punk the DOJ nationwide. Last week you saw the NAR, the DOJ was on Bloomberg, CNBC, Wall Street Journal. Now it's all over the place. Now you should have just kept it under the radar. You should have agreed to what they agreed to last January. Be done with it. Move on. Let them go to Google. Let them go to Facebook. Let them go to Apple. Handle those guys, right? Because you see Apple and Google and Facebook poking the bear at the Department of Justice like the
Hell
NAR
no.
does. What are you doing, man?
Yeah.
Because now the Department of Justice has to say, wait a minute. Now we have to go full boat because everybody else is watching now. And if you try and do what you're doing, then that's going to give the ability for others to try and do this. You know you were wrong. Fix these simple things and let's move on. The settlement that was done back in January that was proposed, which they should have done, they if they would have just put all those in and moved on, these guys, the DOJ, would probably be on to Facebook and Google by now and Apple full force, right?
Sure.
And the settlement helps people like me and you. It helps full-time agents. NAR and our local MLSs, they're a business. They don't represent me and you, okay? They represent themselves as a business. Then if what helps them helps me and you, then so be it. That's great. But right now, NAR and every agent know this isn't a debate. The NAR and the local MLSs, they're like gyms. Okay, the gym down the street from me has 20,000 people. Well, only 2,000 go on a regular basis.
Sure.
So what's more important to that gym? Those 18,000. So the gym is going to put things in place that gets the masses there because those 18,000 that pay the monthly dues is what where they make the money. Same thing is going on right now with NAR and the local MLSs. A lot of the things they do are to have agents that as many agents as possible, not quality, quantity. Not my opinion. It's NAR's own danger report, and
Sure.
that's where they make their most money is these marginal agents. So what the Department of Justice wants to do is going to create more competition. It may or may not reduce commissions, but what it will do, it will skyrocket the quality of agent, and we won't need as many agents as we have right now, which Doesn't hurt me or you. It helps me and you because now we're not gonna lose deals. Any agent that's full-time in the business, how many deals do we lose that the clients never even call us because they contacted a marginal below
Totally.
average agent? We're losing millions of dollars. The full-time agents are every day because we don't even have the opportunity to show the difference of why you would hire us over a marginal agent. And a lot of these rules that the Department of Justice wants to get rid of would allow the consumers to know up front, oh, here is the difference between a good agent and a bad agent. And that would, if these things were implemented, the average, the good quality agents, their business would automatically go up, their revenue, their income. I would suggest that their income would go up 10 to 20% because they would get more business that they never had before because they wouldn't be losing deals to people that never even contacted them.
Sure.
Where do we get this from? That's what happened with the loan officers in 2008. The loan officers today make far less per deal than they did before they made the high quality loan officers. All those rules they changed. Like
Sure.
in Vegas, there used to be 40,000 loan officers in Las Vegas in 2008, 2006, all the heyday, right?
Dude, I was a loan officer here in SAC. There was thousands here too. We had the big
Yes.
AmeriQuest hub right here, dude. It was a beast. Yeah.
Yeah, you know. So guess what? There's about 3,500 loan officers now in Las Vegas. Very rare do I get a bad loan officer. Very rare.
Fascinating.
Back then it was throwing the dice. Very rare. And every single one of my loan officer friends that were doing loans back then, they're still doing them today, are making far more today than they ever did back then. And their job is a lot easier because they're not having to compete with mom, dad, brother, and sister that don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And what the Department of Justice wants to do, these rules that they want to put in or change, would have the same impact as what it did on the loan officers, but it's going to cut the amount of agents that are in the field. So that's what's happening right now, and we just need to get on with this. So the DOJ doesn't come in because the DOJ.
Oh, I just lost you. Okay, gotcha.
The DOJ can come in and say, you know what, we don't need one MLS anymore. We need to have a national MLS. In fact, you know what, that company over there, Rex, you need to put all of your properties over on Rex now too, and the MLS. And there's precedents for this. AT&T breakup, the Microsoft Department of Justice thing, and Bill Gates said himself, the biggest regret he has at Microsoft, guess what it was?
What?
Not taking the Microsoft versus DOJ case seriously enough. That was his biggest regret. Said that on CNBC. Yeah, because look, these guys are going to come in and make an example, and so that's the biggest thing coming our way, and people need to keep up on it. The other thing that is interesting too is the listing attribution that's coming down the pipeline. That's kind of morphed also from the Department of Justice investigation. And when we go back to the danger report, every agent should look into the danger report and see what you need to do to be successful. All you have to do to be successful in today's business is just follow the danger report, because that's exactly what Zillow, Realtor.com, and Redfin did. When that danger report came out, those guys looked at that and said, you know what? Let's implement all these things that the danger report said to do. And
where can people find that? Where can they find the danger report?
Well, isn't that funny that every realtor should know what the danger report is? And in fact, once it came out, they suppressed the information. They said, oh, don't worry about this anymore. Just, you can Google the NAR, National Association of Realtors, obviously, danger report, DANGER. Danger stands for something I don't know, but you can look it up, danger report, and it comes up. But they use the danger as a metaphor for
sure.
D stands for something, whatever. It don't matter.
Well, that's a serious word. You don't say danger for nothing, right?
Right. and guess what? If we've been talking about it before the danger report, and I specifically said once the Department of Justice gets a hold of this and they subpoena the emails, there's going to be big problems for NAR, because the danger report specifically said that the threat to the industry was marginal poor agents. So now NAR and the local MLSs did nothing to what the danger report said. And just in the last filing from the Department of Justice, the Department of Justice actually referenced the danger report.
Wow,
And,
fascinating.
yeah, and without going, without it's too much time, but part of the thing that the Department of Justice said was, and they probably have the emails between, like when the questions were sent out to the brokerages, they have those emails because they were subpoenaed from one of the civil cases too. So those private emails that were sent to respond to the danger report, they have those now. And it was referenced in the latest memorandum that was filed by the DOJ a couple of days ago. They referenced the danger report on how the marginal agents are a big part of the NARs and local MLS's business practice, and that these changes weren't made to promote this kind of marginal agent. So basically what they're saying is,
that's so crazy, dude. That's so crazy.
Yeah, the MLS rules that we have to follow were put in place to hurt people like me and you, but to help the marginal agents.
Bro, I know. I get a complaint on a listing once a fucking day. I got a couple hundred, and it's nonstop. Yeah. Like, I gotta pay. I gotta have a whole person whose job it is just to look at those complaints all day.
Dude, the calls we get, and that's another thing. This is another thing. If we didn't have these poor quality agents, the Department of Justice wouldn't be looking on the buyer side. I don't have to tell you. You know better than me. At least 50% of the time, I just tell the agent on the other side, look, listen, this is what you need to do. Have your buyer call me. We'll take it from here. And many times they do. Or I got to tell them this is what they got to do. Where's the lender's information? What did you talk with the lender? Oh, the lender said this. Did you get it in writing from the lender? Because a phone call means nothing. In fact, if it goes wrong, that phone call doesn't exist because the lender says he's never said it. So if you don't have it in writing from the lender, get it. I get questions like, yeah, can we show your house today? Do you see what the MLS says? Well, what do you mean? Well, it says contact the owner for showings. I mean, the questions, we don't have to waste
bro, dude, bro.
Yeah.
Bro.
It's over 50%. And this is the craziness. And here's what they're saying. Why should those agents make the same amount as money as me and you on the buyer side? So this is how the marginal agents, and this is how not training those marginal agents has brought the spotlight on with the Department of Justice.
What impact could this have? So, of course, I love talking about selling houses, but what impact can this have on my other thing I love, which is recruiting agents? Well, what do you mean that, like, these big, like, it makes me think from a selfish place, because I love to recruit. The agent pool will be less but better. So train your agents more. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. What do you think? You guys have a bunch of agents, right?
Yeah. We're gonna so this is it's gonna be similar to what happened in the REO days, right? It's there was a lot of people right before the crash, and then the REOs came, and then to be honest, during the REO days, the agents were more highly knowledgeable about the market and the industry than they are now, because you had to be, and you had a buyer that was usually more knowledgeable about the environment. But this is going to definitely, like you said, look, some of the most successful brokerages out here in Vegas, they have 800 agents.
Yeah,
they make $100 a month off them. Okay, so that's 80 grand a month, right? So out of that 800, 600 don't do nothing. Literally, they do maybe one or two.
Nothing. They do nothing. Yeah.
They make 60 grand a month off these people for literally doing nothing.
Yep.
And let's say they all do on average one deal a year. So that's 500. So they make another 300,000. So they make 80 grand a month. And so they're making over $1 million for doing what? Very, very little time.
A place to hang your license. Yeah. Which is what my model is for my brokerage. And yeah. But I mean, that just makes me think that we got, which is always the case, is just, but it's never going to happen because the barrier to entry, right, is we just always got to be educating everybody in our organizations to not be marginable. marginal.
Well, yeah, well, I've been doing this since '98, and from when I started in Vegas, there was about 4,500 agents, and guess what? There was more full-time agents in 1998 than there are today.
What percentage of the Vegas agents are cocktail servers? That's my main question. And I've texted you this and asked you before. So.
Yeah, you're probably from the service industry. I would say 25% are cocktail waitresses, bartenders, or from the service industry. Because guess what? Because of technology, because of these MLS rules, it's very easy for someone to work a job here in Las Vegas and do real estate part-time and make over 150 grand a year in real estate because they're at their job making clients. Like I have a lot of cocktail waitresses and bartenders and servers over the years that have made over 200,000 easily. Police officers that work full-time because I show them how to, hey, you got all these people that quit all their jobs, come into real estate, get on the phone, call 2 or 3 hours a day. Okay, that's great. But you know what? You have a job where you can make those relationships and get paid and no stress. And they don't smell that you're desperate on there because you don't need to sell. Because guess what? You're already making 100, 200 grand, 250 grand, 300 grand already at the casinos, at the pools.
Drinks. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you got a job at the pools, in 6 months, you're making $250,000 a year minimum. Sometimes they make more at the good ones. And we teach them how to also prospect while they're there. And they built up that relationship. And guess what? Because of technology, you don't have to spend your 80% of your day searching properties anymore because it's automated. When I first started, that's why in 1998, 1999, all the way up to about 2005, there was more full-time agents back then than there is today because you couldn't do it part-time. So you're people, a lot of people, like we were just talking, think that the problem is that the barrier of entry is too low. The problem is we need more CE credits. No, that's not true at all because back then, it was easier to become a realtor. There was very little CE credits, and we had a more professional, higher percentage of professional agents, and 95% were full-time. And it's because you couldn't do it part-time because
I lost the sound again. Okay, gotcha.
You had to go out and search the properties, okay?
Yeah.
And look at them and learn them. So you couldn't have another job where today you don't have to do that anymore. Nobody gets in a bus anymore in a broker open house. You know, you don't preview houses. So literally on Tuesdays out here, big brokerages would get everybody in a bus and they would go all around, look at houses and stuff. Nobody does that anymore.
No, what a waste of time. Shit.
Yeah. Well, back then, that's what they did. But today, consumers already know. So you don't have to spend 30 or 40 hours a week looking for somebody's houses. Like in '99 and before, 2003, 2004, I would spend my day looking for properties. And then, this looks good. This looks good. Because remember, on our MLS back then, we didn't have no pictures of houses. So I'm like, oh, this looks good. This might work. I would fax it to their work. Okay, fax it to their work. And then at 5 o'clock, they would call me and let me know which ones they liked.
Yeah.
So that's why there was a quality back then. And so now with this investigation and stuff going on, people are saying, wait a minute, how are these agents that really don't know much making so much money? And why is there, so back then in '98, the good agents made a lot, the poor agents didn't make a lot, right? Today, there's just as many poor agents that aren't knowledgeable that make just as much money as someone that is knowledgeable because of technology and because of the way the MLS is set up, all right? Economists are starting to look at that now. There's no, this is a whole conversation, but there is no really difference on a buyer's side. So like when we go on a listing, right, they're interviewing us, okay, this guy's good. I think we can do this. On the buyer's side, you don't know who you're paying. You don't know who's bringing in that buyer. It could be someone, the person that's been licensed 30 days makes the same amount of money as someone that's been licensed 20 years and knowledgeable. So that's what they're looking at right now. And that's why if they just would have settled this back in January, it would have been done and we could have been pretty much status quo, right? But you know, a lot of the big companies, a lot of the big MLSs, I don't know what they were thinking they could fight back.
Dude, they want to be heroes. They end up being martyrs.
Yeah,
So
well, here's the big thing. Nobody fights the Department of Justice, right? No companies. But guess what? These guys are fighting them with whose money? My money and your money. They don't care. They don't have any legal bills because they can just send us an assessment. Oh, you know, this is what's going to happen. So,
yeah, I mean, I got a story in my past about trying to argue with the Department of Justice. Save time for another story. And yeah, you just don't do it.
no, they got
So
unlimited. They got unlimited resources, and if you think you're right, then that's one thing. But these guys know the stuff they're telling Inman and the stuff they're telling the lawyers is two separate stories. And a lot of this stuff that was pretty ironic started here in Las Vegas because see, our MLS is a monopoly. There's only one, and we're like an island. So this is pretty much ground zero where it started, and that's why you know, the civil cases and all that stuff. We have a lot of the realtors here. Not a lot, but a few of them are well versed on what's happening, and a lot of us are starting to make some changes because now we know it's not the vote that's coming up in November for those changes. Those should have been done almost a year and a half ago.
So with all this stuff happening and inflation, and what should people doing? Like, what are you investing in right now? You.
Now, we're lucky to be in real estate because guess what? There's only one thing anymore that has the best protection against inflation nation, right? And that's real estate. I mean, throughout history, you know, stocks are anything that's not cash right now, right? This is unprecedented what we're seeing. You know, the cryptocurrencies are great because the reason why the cryptocurrencies are so popular is because they let gold be manipulated. Gold used to be gold and silver. People used to buy gold and silver to hedge against inflation. Well, you can Google this, you guys. Everybody can watch this, can Google themselves. Google the manipulation of gold and silver, the gold and silver fraud. This was done back in 2013, 2014. And basically, they're selling silver and gold that doesn't exist through paper, right? And that's why gold and silver are so low. So the guy that invented Bitcoin was genius because Bitcoin serves a need. You can't buy gold and silver anymore, so now they buy Bitcoin. You can't buy gold and silver, but it's not going to protect against inflation. Look at what's going on right now. Silver's $24, and it was 18 or 17 bucks just for the last 10 years. So how does that help it? Look at Bitcoin. Look at real estate. Look at stock. Look at gas. Everything's gone up but gold and silver. So now there's really only two things that you can buy that are not that aren't, I don't know what the word is for Bitcoin, but unknown, right? We don't know about Bitcoin and nobody really understands it, right?
Yeah.
So, and you can lose it at any time, right? Someone could break into your thing. I mean, what's that? You know, you could throw a couple guns, but if you're a serious investor, there's only two things left, guys: real estate and stocks and bonds. And the stock and bonds, unless you're, you know, an elected politician, you can't get the good stock picks. So, but you know what? There is a site now that we can track what the politicians are buying. I'm just going to start copying them. True story.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll say
yeah, like I'm like, you know, we're building a new house because I've been renting since the market tanked in 2008 and I got lost all my houses. I've been renting ever since. I'm not buying anything, but we're building something now only because my wife wants to. I mean, I would be happy, but so yeah, just like, you know, and the whole thing with everything's crazy. The world and the economy are crazy. So yes, inflation nation. What do we do? Let's talk about it.
Yeah, real estate, right? Real estate has cash flow. Real estate has price appreciation, and you're worried about a crash. Well, guess what? What they put in 2012 will prevent a crash. I mean, look, the stock market really didn't even crash last time, and nobody was working, and it was the worst depression ever. It stopped at 18,000 because the Fed goes, you know what? We don't want anything to crash. Let's go in and start buying. So I knew the stock market was going to go to 10 or 12, but then they put in that backstop and the Fed went in and started buying stock like nobody's business. So at 18, once I saw it go to 19, 19.5, I got in at 20. because I knew that once it started going up, these guys were unloading and printing money. And guess what? We were left out again, and the hedge funds knew all that, what was going on. So I got in at 20. And then with real estate last March, basically the hedge funds have been a secret bailout for all the banks. Because what has all this done for that? What have the hedge funds done? They just bailed out the banks prematurely. So now anyone that couldn't make their payment or couldn't get foreclosed on, it don't matter because they have equity now. Because everywhere you go now, I mean, now it's not even a secret. Even Bloomberg says it today in Bloomberg that, private equity buying homes is a problem now for real estate, especially for first-time home buyers. Yeah, we've been saying this for the 12 months, but what has it done? It's increased real estate phenomenal. So anyone that's going to, that can't make a payment or that's going to lose their house, it's not going to be foreclosure. It's not going to be an REO. And what do we know? No matter how bad the economy is, it's supply and demand overrides everything. So if you don't have enough supply, it doesn't matter if nobody's working, the prices aren't going to go down. And that's what they don't. They don't want the real estate market prices to go down any significant amount. And with these hedge funds buying everywhere, I'm sure they're in Sacramento too, they're setting a floor. They're setting a floor in Vegas, it's anything under 500. And there's a new one that just came in, $50 million.
Well, Vegas is like one of those ground zero places with like Phoenix and Atlanta, right? Like you guys see it all first.
Yeah, no, we see everything. We got the iBuyers, we got the hedge funds, we got the flippers, we got everything. It's
Do you remember when those Z buyer leads were good? Z buyer, dude. The only time I've ever seen a Z buyer commercial was at the Wynn when I was in my room. I'm like waking up all hurting, and I was like, "That's where the damn leads come from."
Yeah. The Z buyer leads. And that's another thing too that's going to be changing the way we market and the way we receive leads with this Department of Justice changes. Because right now, I mean, look how lead generation has changed so much over 10 years. And one of the reasons why lead generation, I mean, the stuff we need to do today to capture leads, why is that? Because in the past, 2000 to 2015, we were able to easily capture that buyer in the middle of the stream, right? And that we didn't have to catch them so far up the stream. Yeah, go waste your time. And then when you're 6 to 12 months out or 3 months out, then call. I think even Mike Ferry said if they're more than 90 days out, don't waste your time on them.
Yeah, that ain't true anymore.
Yeah. So, but that was a different time because we had access to the way the leads came in and the way the MLS, the way the IDX was set up was different than it is now. So today, realtors have to have artificial intelligence. They have to have ISAs because they got to catch those people way upstream. Because once they get midstream, you're going to lose them to one of the tech companies for sure. It's 99% chance. So that's why you have to catch them upstream. You have to use technology. You have to follow up. You have to nurture them, or you're going to lose 50% of your business.
Yeah, well, I'm not because I have all the tech companies sending me a bunch of leads. But I mean, whatever, dude. I've been an agent for my 8-year anniversary is next month, is in January, right? So we're having fun. So speaking of which, like, what should agents be doing? Like, what do you have your agents doing right now besides the, learning how to work it at the pool and the day job, which is great. I love that about Vegas. Is what are you training your agents to do? Like, what's that look like over at Platinum Real Estate?
So we have a training for new agents that are brand new, that in this market, new agents, in 20 years, I really didn't like working with new agents just because there's enough other agents that are already trained. I didn't like bringing brand new ones on. But today, the new agents have a huge advantage over the experienced agents because the market's shifting and changing right now. Not the real estate market, but the way people buy and sell and the way we're being compensated. And a lot of the older ones don't get it. So
aren't have the energy to be that Johnny on the spot, right?
Right. So when people call now, we don't really qualify them as much as we used to. We have a new agent go out, meet them, and the old people are like, and I'm old. I'm old too. The old people are like, oh man, you can't take people out without asking this, that. Hey, guess what? This ain't 2017. This ain't 2018.
You better get out there.
You better get out there, because guess what? Those tech companies have somebody out there. So we're training them how to get that conversation when you meet someone for the first time on how to build that bonding real quick. You only got about 30 seconds or they're going to think you're a fool. So you have to go out there and get that conversation going where you never had to do that before. I mean, can you imagine being at a Mike Ferry or Tom Ferry conference and saying, I'm going to go meet somebody without a prequel?
Yeah.
But if you want these leads today, a lot of these companies are saying you have to do that. So then we have them calling anytime I sell a house, if they're new, I have them call around the area. The circle prospecting is big right now. Yeah, well, they're not calling to talk. They're calling to see how they can help them, number one. And number two, give them information. You can't be salesies right now. And when we give them something, I give them 3 topics to talk about if they can strike up a conversation. How's the housing prices? Is it going to crash like it did in 2008? Because people still have a lot of people out here are so scared that.
Yeah, I am. PTSD is what I call it. Shit.
Yeah. And so that is an excellent opportunity for them to say, no, it's not here in Vegas. And here's why. A new base has been set. And the rules back in 2008 are the rules that caused the crash in 2008, mainly the mark-to-market rules, the accounting rules, were changed. And ever since they were changed, the foreclosure stopped, and then all the foreclosures. So the people want information right now. So I give them a short 2-minute script on that. Keep it short. Don't want to be talking on the phone with them for 20, 30 minutes if they're not going to be buying or selling in the next 12 months. So you got to keep that short. Then once you give them information, these people open up to you. They're not going to open up to you on these scripts. So when people say cold calling doesn't work if you're using those same old scripts. Hi, this is Steve from Platinum Real Estate. I just sold this house in your area. No. That's not gonna work.
Dude, I love that you're teaching your agents to fucking do that, bro. I love that. Dude, it's so Steve, that's why you're the man, dude. I love that.
Well, we try because people are starving for information, and it's kind of like giving back to it, because a lot of people sold their house this year thinking the market was going to crash. And I told them, I go, look, man, you got to look at everything now. Back then, all those people got foreclosed on, it goes back to your cocktail thing. In 2008, I had cocktail waitresses and bartenders, everybody buying houses.
On stated income,
Yeah, and they bought 10 houses in 90 days so the lender wouldn't see that they own the houses. So the loan officer would take their credit report, right, and send it to 3 different loans, 3 different banks, and do 3 maximum. Well, they had to do those houses in 90 days because the lender wouldn't have given them the money if they wouldn't have known about it. So guess what happened? All these people, we know what happened. But today, the people buying these houses, they're never going to sell. These hedge funds that bought 8 years ago, you know how many houses they've sold since then? 0. You know how many houses they're going to sell 10 years from now? 0.
What, just holding on to them in Vegas? Are they vacant?
Everywhere. They turned them into rental-backed securities. So no matter what happens, they're never going to sell them. And then you got this forever low interest rate. So where are they going? Listen, these guys were killing it when rents were $1,000 a month on these houses. Now they're $2,300 a month. The rents could drop 50%, and they would still be killing it. So there's no reason to sell these houses. And where are they going to get the kind of return? Plus, the people in charge of this right now, they're making a killing. So they're not going to tell their investors, oh yeah, sell these things, because they're out of a job. You know how much money they make managing these things? Crazy. Are you going to see a portfolio manager tell all his clients? Have you ever heard of a portfolio manager or a stockbroker call his clients and say, hey, sell all your stuff? No, no, because that's their income. Same thing with these private equity firms. The people in charge, they're not going to say sell. They're never going to say sell. They're making a killing doing nothing. Can you imagine how much money these guys are making? One private equity firm has 80,000 homes, another one has 100. I mean, and people say, oh, it's a small amount. No, it's not a small amount because they've gone to areas and it made a huge impact. In Vegas, in Vegas alone, because of the hedge funds and private equity firms, the properties in Vegas have gone up an extra 10 to 15%. Guaranteed. If it wasn't
guaranteed, yeah.
Guaranteed 10 or 15%. So, and our houses have gone up basically the last year about 24%. So if it wasn't for those hedge funds, it would have been at the max 9% and maybe 3 to 5% because you wouldn't have had all this frenzy, right? People are, and you wouldn't have had rents going through the roof. What these guys have caused has been horrific for the public that isn't in the game right now, that doesn't know what's going on, because me and you know what's going on because we're in it. And there's no end in sight. So like Goldman Sachs said, next year prices are probably going to go up to 16%. Well, you know, you got the top banks in the world telling everybody that it's going to go up 16%. Well, yeah, they do it because their buddies down the street and down the hallway are writing checks for millions, billions, and trillions of dollars for houses, and they can't even get enough. I mean, look, you have Invitation Homes couldn't even buy enough resale homes, so they called Pulte and said, hey, how many new homes can you give us? How's 7,000 sound? Okay, we'll take them. So they got 7,000 homes right down the street here at Cadence. It's a brand new development. One of the builders, I can't remember exactly who it was, that one of the new builders. I want to say Lennar, but I'm not sure. But one of them, the whole community in Cadence, 400 homes, America Homes for Rent, bought them all. And they're all going to be rented. And then right down here in Silverado Ranch, they're buying land that should have been they're buying brand new homes, and they're not even going into ownership. They're going straight to rentals. That's just in Vegas, right down there, Mountain's Edge, right there in Silverado Ranch.
Vegas is ground zero, dude. Like I said,
but they're doing this everywhere. Everywhere.
Oh, I'm sure. Dude, it's so much.
When I say everywhere, the big markets, I mean, they're not doing this. Well, you know what? They weren't doing it in the Midwest, but now they are doing it in Kansas City. They are doing it in Missouri. They are doing it in Huntsville, Alabama now because they ran out of properties here.
So good, man. Wow. So much info every time, dude. I learned so much. If you guys are not following Steve on the social media channels for this kind of information nonstop, you really should. Do you know what your Instagram handle is off the top of your head?
Hawks_Steve.
Hawks_Steve. And if they have a referral for you in Las Vegas, how do they send it to you?
Well, if they tell me that they're friends with King of Cali, for this right now, it's a King special, 40%. 40%. 40%. The King special.
Too funny.
Bringing value to the King's people, man.
Hey, like I never expected number one in Cali. Like I expected number one in Sac. But me and John and I were talking one day. John Cheplack, he's like, I said, I think we might get number one in the state. He's all, no. I was all, dude, if I do these numbers right, it's looking pretty good.
Yeah. It's amazing, man. It's amazing what you've done. And you're a perfect example. You've been in the business 8 years, and you're doing better than everybody's been in the business 20, 30, 40 years.
Yep. Well, I adopted technology and sales techniques early on and worked my face off.
Well, yeah, not only that, you're a perfect example of all your people are high quality. You're high quality. You have to be, and every one of your deals has to be high quality and good service and knowledgeable, right? Or you wouldn't get them. And you are a perfect example of the broker of the future. You don't need 1,000 brokers with 800 agents that don't do it, that don't know what they're doing. You can have one broker like yourself that has used and leveraged technology and has put processes in place to train the agents, not in 2 years, but in 30 days.
Yes.
With real life experience. This isn't rocket science. You're not going to teach them stuff that's fluff and doesn't need to be taught, because it's not helping them. It's helping the broker. You're out there helping the agents, helping them grow. I see what your agents say. You can't fake that what they're saying, and the the appreciation they have when they're talking about what you've done for them, what you've taught them, the knowledge, the glow in their face, that you can't make that up. And it's because of brokers like you. That's the future right there. People want to know what the future of real estate is. All they got to do is look at the king of Cali.
Yeah, baby. All right. I hope I get to see you next week, bro. Come out for
I'm
like
I'm definitely gonna try to make. Where's that at? Where's that at exactly?
Aria. In Mint,
Okay,
dude.
cool. Yeah, I know, but yeah. They're out here a lot, so that's why. But I'm gonna make it a point to come see the king.
I'm not gonna see your ass, but that's okay. Thanks for coming on.